Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Marriage Matters. This is a show or a podcast where we talk about marriage matters because
marriage matters.
So my name is Glenn Coleman, and I'm joined as always by my beautiful wife,
Tanya Coleman. Hey, guys.
And so we're the Colemans, and this is Marriage Matters. So how about that?
That's it. That's who we are.
Want to send a special shout out to all of the fathers. Today is Father's Day. Well, this is airing on Father's Day, so you may be seeing it on another day. But shout out to all the fathers out there holding it down. You heard me?
Absolutely. We are so happy to have you in our home.
Watch yourself now.
And for you to be the father of my children is truly a blessing.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm your baby daddy. You my baby mama.
All of both.
And we don't have no baby mama or baby daddy drama.
None at all. Praise the Lord.
Well, yeah. I don't think,
What you mean, Well,
no. We don't have any between us. Because this is only us. Okay, let's get into today's show.
Okay.
All right. So today we are talking about emotional intimacy.
Yes.
Emotional intimacy. I just wanted to kind of bring this. I've been doing some... Oh, EI. Okay. I was like, what? EI. Okay.
EI, yes.
Yeah, emotional intimacy. I was doing some research about the top 5 reasons people get divorced or relationships don't work or people break up, what have you. And in every, when you do research, online, you get a lot of different articles or whatever. But in one that was consistent amongst probably about 5 or 6 articles that I read online was emotional intimacy, a lack of emotional intimacy. So I just want to kind of talk about that today and maybe give you some tips and tricks as to how to make sure that you are what's the word I'm looking for?
That you're connecting?
Not connecting. What's the word? Developing. Cultivating. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good one.
Cultivating emotional intimacy in your relationships. So I'll just start off. I found this definition. So what is emotional intimacy? Emotional intimacy is a closeness in which both partners feel secure and loved and in which trust and communication abounds. Trust and communication abounds. So, we always say that's one of the things that we always hear from couples that, what's something that you guys want to work on or what's something that you need to work on. It's always communication.
Right.
And communication, in order for true communication, I believe, in order for true communication to happen, there must be trust.
Yes.
And I think that the foundation or a foundation for trust is emotional intimacy.
Yes. It's that the emotional intimacy creates the connectedness that's needed to truly develop trust, and especially an ongoing, long-term, lifelong trust. There has to be an emotional connection. There's a difference, I think, from even, we talked about couples who don't stay together, but some couples even stay together and there is no emotional intimacy because the connection is gone. So we're kind of just coexisting in the same space. And so that's one of the reasons why working toward or cultivating the emotional intimacy is really important.
Yeah. And so, what I see it as, creating a safe space, a safe environment to where you can tell your spouse anything.
Yeah.
And to me, that's when you can tell your spouse anything, and I think I talked about this before, but I still am working on that, to be able to be truly emotionally intimate and really, being able to tell Tanya everything that I feel and everything that, and there's so many layers to that, to why emotional intimacy doesn't happen. Like I said, for me, I grew up and we that's not the type of family I grew up in. We didn't, we talked to each other, but when it came to like really it was like if something would happen, it was like let's push this under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I mean, maybe some of the stuff I was too young to hear, but to me, it seems like overall we were, always, we didn't talk about things.
Right. And that vulnerable space wasn't created.
It was
the
not
safe space
created.
for vulnerability.
And we did not, it wasn't allowed, and I'll often relate it back again to my kids. I try to, and it's hard. It is hard to try to give them the space to be vulnerable and to open up and to say, here's what I'm thinking. Here's how I see the situation. So that's a hard thing. But I want the reason why I'm saying that is because I want them to be have emotional intimacy, and develop that muscle, if you will, of emotional intimacy.
Yeah. I think being truly vulnerable, being really open to any other person, any other human is difficult for many people. It's really hard to allow someone to really see you in totality.
Man, we just have an issue with
know
words
with
today.
speaking today.
Shout out to hear more. Wording is hard.
Amen. In its totality, but especially when you're in a relationship and maybe you've had some past experiences, rather that be from your family environment or past romantic relationships or friendships where trust was broken. You tend to go into protective mode, and so to say that, I'm going to fully trust this individual with all of who I am and all of my thoughts and my feelings, those that are good, those that are not so good, can be a bit of a challenge, and sometimes we say that, I tell people what's on my mind. Well, do you really? Are you telling people what's really on your mind, or are you just kind of spewing out negativity? Because usually that's what people do when they're saying that they tell you what's on their mind. But really, if you are trying to build connectivity with that person, here we go again, connectivity with that person, sitting down and having a conversation and letting them know what your real thoughts and feelings are. And I think a safe environment has to be created in order for that to really happen. You have to really trust that person, and you can't expect that of people until you have created that safe environment. So I'm not going to pour my heart out to you and then you turn around and you use it against me. That is a fear of a lot of people, or being judged.
Yeah, it's like, and well, I'm just going to say that. So, you cry in front of, and this is so, juvenile or whatever. But anyway, I can think about, when, maybe some men may, not want to cry because they're afraid that, in a heated moment, their spouse may use it against them. You old cry baby. That's why you need to go back to your mama or whatever. It's like, well, I was trying to be open and vulnerable.
Right. I was trying to show you my heart.
yeah. But anyway, but one of the things that you have to be, like anything else, you have to be intentional with emotional intimacy, and so you need to plan time. You need to have these times where you could just sit down and just really tell each other, this is what I'm feeling about this, or this is how I feel about this, or these are my dreams and these are my desires. There's nothing, and I think again, even some of this starts as a child. When your child says, I want to be what's his name? Michael Jr. He's one of my. I like his comedian. He has his joke where his son says, Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. And he's like, yes, son. You could do anything. You can do anything you want to do. He says, or a dinosaur.
Right.
And he's like, but it was just sometimes, so many times when we say we want to do things, we are met with all the reasons why we can't do those things, or why we shouldn't.
to
and
tell
here's
you
why
why.
we'll never have that.
You can't.
And so, you know, when as spouses, you need to dream together. You
Absolutely.
need to, you know, to shoot. I mean, I always say this: it doesn't cost you anything to dream together. It doesn't cost you. All it costs you is time.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down and talk about, here's the house that we want to build together.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and one of the things that Tanya and I do when we talk about that, it's like we take the limits off.
Yep,
It's like
no
if
limits.
we had unlimited resources,
Mm-hmm.
what would the house look like?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the house that we build
All right.
together.
Right.
You know, and so again, that's just but doing. And I know you're saying, well, that's a house, but again, it's those things that you have hidden away
Mm-hmm.
that you don't tell anybody.
Right.
You know that you're afraid because if you share with that, people are gonna think that maybe you're stupid or who do you think you are that to have that to get that anyway. But my point is, you have to make time to do that.
Right.
So many couples don't make. So many times, all we talk about is the stuff that we have to talk about.
Right.
Like, and not even. I'm talking more like the day to day. Life becomes so much about. Where do the kids have to be?
Mm-hmm.
What bills need to be paid?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do for vacation this summer?
Mm-hmm.
And you get so busy in doing life that you forget. No, I can't say that. you forget to actually have time. You know what I was about to say?
I think I know what you're about to say.
Okay, but anyway, so what do you think about that?
I think it's true. It's absolutely true that we get caught up in the day to day, and we forget to dream together. Maybe we've had some challenges or some losses of resources and jobs and things of that nature, and we forget, to continue dreaming, to continue building, and dreaming and creating vision that sparks that the creativity. It sparks the desire to succeed and to keep working and to work harder and to pursue new avenues and new paths to get you to your destination. That's why it's important as a couple that we continue to dream together. And even if you are stepping out, if your spouse is stepping out on something new and maybe they're not 100% sure, or they're struggling, in their confidence or their faith, creating that safe space, where we can be connected emotionally and they can come to you and say, hey, babe, I'm really scared. I don't know that this is it or that this is going to work out, and having their ear and being able to encourage them and to, help them walk this thing out in faith, or at least be there as a shoulder to lean on and say, hey, we have this. I think that that's really important.
So you just want to really, during these times, really talk about things that are important to you. Whether that's, like Tanya said, whether that's a dream, whether that's a fear, whether that's something to do with the kids or something, whatever it is,
Right.
Make time to talk about what's really in your heart, what you've really been thinking about with your spouse. And here's the thing, as the receiver, you want to make sure that you're not being negative towards your spouse,
Right.
that you're not,
Absolutely.
and I know, like, a great example of this is like when we were talking about this whole COVID thing, and Tanya's whole thing is like, we need to be wearing the mask. I think that and my thing is like, girl, I ain't wearing no mask, and so I know, but I had to say, okay, this is important to her, and she wants to make sure that our family is safe, so I was wrong for just shooting that down. Shooting her
Tell all the people. Tell everyone.
Tell everybody what?
How you just shot me down with the mask and you were being rebellious.
I was. But I'm wearing my mask now.
Yeah, he is wearing his mask.
Wearing my mask.
Because
I
he loves his
apologize to
family.
everybody for not wearing the mask. But anyway. But that's just an idea. So I'm saying is, don't, when your spouse is sharing these things with you, because look, when you're doing this, we're not saying that we're going to go out and do these things tomorrow, or we have to address. Sometimes I'm just venting. Sometimes I just need to get this off of my chest, and to be always met with, and here's the other thing, which was really tough for me, as a man, I'm a fixer. Maybe not like as far as being handy, but I mean, I like to fix.
You fix things.
Right, I know, I do. But I like to fix. I like to solve. I'm a problem solver.
Right.
I love puzzles. I love to make things work. And so when Tanya would come to me and she would just be sharing, all this stuff with me, I was like, okay, how can I fix it? How can I fix it? Let me try to fix it. So I'm gonna give her this great. Well, if you would A, B, and C, or the Bible says if you. It's like, yeah, she wasn't trying to. That's not the time to preach, or the time to try to well, and use the
There's a balance.
There's a balance.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is sometimes people, your spouse doesn't want to be coached. They just want to vent.
Yeah.
And we use this term in life coaching. We call it story catching. And sometimes people just need you to catch their story. Right. Sometimes people just need to you to listen and just to hear what their pain. So that's what that's the thing I want to encourage you. Even when your spouse begins to share, or that person close to you begins to share, it's not always time to try to solve their problem or fix it. Sometimes it's just allow them to be vulnerable. Because here's what's going to happen if you do that. If you're always trying to fix it, then it's going to shut them down from being vulnerable, from opening up to you. And especially, coming, from, are living a lifestyle of faith, and we walk by faith and not by sight. I know I've been guilty in the past of, when my wife is really telling me, how are we going to eat? And I'm like, well, the Bible says man shall not live by bread alone. It's like, whoa, bro, I'm trying to figure out how we gonna get some food in this house.
Right. And them kids don't want to hear that.
So it's like, it's not always being,
right.
You don't have to, you at this, your wife or your husband, sometimes they need us just to listen. Sometimes they just need to let us cry on their shoulder, and so I'll share this last thing. Well, no, I'm not going to share that. We're going to go ahead and do our
ad, yes. Yeah. We'd like to thank our partners, Goalie Nutrition, our new partners. They are the world's first apple cider vinegar gummy vitamin. Now you can get the amazing benefits of apple cider vinegar without the not so amazing taste. So I don't know how many of you are apple cider vinegar drinkers to help with your most people do it for weight loss, but it has so many different benefits. But the Goalie vitamins have all of the ACV that you need in a day. You take 2 vitamins and that equals 1 shot of ACV. For 5% off of your order, go to gogoalie.com/marriage matters. Remember to use promo code Marriage Matters for 5% off of your order. Goalie Nutrition is an inventive, people-focused nutrition company driven by the belief that happiness and wellness go hand in hand. All of their products are created to complement today's active lifestyles. 100% organic, vegan-friendly, gluten-free. They contain no preservatives, chemicals, or artificial ingredients. So for 5% off your order, go to go.goli.com/marriage matters.
Yes, sir. So that's go.goalie.com/marriage matters to receive 5% off of your Goalie order. And they're really good. I enjoy them.
They are. Them. The entire family actually can take these vitamins. So
I take them.
Check them out.
Yep. So back to our program. Regularly scheduled program.
Yes.
No, but the other thing, I want to talk about was you need to I find out what counts as quality time for your spouse. Because different people, they register quality time differently. So when it comes to emotional intimacy, one of the things is that you have to spend quality time. And so like, I know for me, quality time could be just sitting together watching a movie.
Absolutely.
That could be quality time. Whereas for Tanya, maybe quality time more of is she wants to actually talk while, you get what I'm saying? Or for you, quality time may be working out together. But for someone, It may be, I can't, that's not quality time because when I'm working out, I'm
Mm-hmm.
focused. And so I'm not really,
Mm-hmm.
even though we work out together with that, I don't consider that
Right.
quality
Right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And each spouse may have a different type of
That's
quality
right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to make sure that you're giving each other what you need as far as quality time.
Right. I think for us, during quarantine, we got into this habit of sitting outside to have our morning coffee. We sit, we talk, we pray, and we may even start our work day, checking emails and things of that nature, still sitting outside on the back patio having our coffee. And for me, that was great quality time, spending that time together and being in that quiet space and watching the birds and the clouds and all of that was really good quality time, even when we were checking the email or maybe watching a video or something of that nature that was inspiring to us, or a learning video, what have you. But that time together in the morning, I really value that time. So
yeah. So find out what counts as quality time for your spouse. The other thing is to learn develop a sense of usness.
I like that.
Develop a sense of, in other words, what does it mean for us? There has to be, there should be things that, only you and your spouse know about. And, I love it. Like when somebody says something or does something, and Tanya and I kind of know, and we can look at each other and not say anything and know. So it's like having those things
the
together.
Inside joke.
Yeah, just developing it. What's our thing?
Right.
One of the things that we love is we have these shows that we love to watch together. And I will admit sometimes I'll go and watch. I commit what is it? Episode adultery.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll go and watch the shows and she'll be like, Did you watch episode without me? Yeah, I did. I will admit it.
Cause he can't wait, y'all. He can't wait.
I'll be trying to just act like I didn't watch it and watch it with her, but she be knowing. But so just developing that sense of usness. So some things that, maybe it's taking the drives together, maybe it's traveling together, or, what are the things that we do that make us us?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that this podcast is one of our usness. I think this kind of says this is what we're all about as a couple.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that I think this has done for us, this is quality time. It's also a part of our passion to teach and talk to other couples about marriage and relationships. To coach couples is one of the things that we do together. It has also helped us to I think relax more and learn to just, even in this environment, we're at home taping just us, but it goes out to, social media to just be ourselves. It took me a little longer. I think I'm getting better at just being ourselves and not being, what maybe other people expect you to be. And I think that's important too. In marriage, when it comes to emotional intelligence, like your spouse should be able to come to you and say, hey, babe, why do you feel like you have to do this when you're with this group of people, or put up with this from this person or this group of, like, your spouse should be able to come to you and have those kinds of conversations without you getting offended, and realizing that they're trying to love you and they're trying to help you through whatever it is that you have going on. One of our greatest things is that we both, are all about being your true, authentic self. And whatever that looks like, that's how God created you to be. And through our connectedness, we're able to help each other through that process. And so, that's also important. Don't get upset when he, or she says to you, hey, when we're with this group of friends or this group of people, you're not yourself. There's probably a lot of truth to that, so that's where, things like emotional intelligence and vulnerability come in at, and it's only to help you, not to hurt you.
So I guess in closing, what I want to do is give you a tool And we've used this before, and it's an app, and it's called the Ultimate Intimacy app. And there's a lot of parts to that, but we're only going to talk about the conversation starter part. But there's as far as intimacy, there's just conversation, there's sexual intimacy, there's all different levels of this app. But what I want to do, there's a section on there that's called conversation starters, and if you select that category, it'll give you some topics like romance, intimacy, family, finances, spiritual, miscellaneous. So what it helps, it just kind of helps you to start these emotional intimacy conversations. Right. So like if you click on one of those topics, it'll ask you a question, and then you guys can just, because sometimes maybe you just don't know what to talk about, right. or maybe you don't know what, or you can't, before you share the deep dark things or the things that you've hidden away in your heart, maybe it'll help you just to talk about just some other things, just to try to get you going, prime the pump, if you will. Right. So the Ultimate Intimacy app, you can go, it's available on Apple, the App Store, or wherever you Android people get your apps from.
See?
What?
Android people.
So that it's a great tool, I think, to help you start developing developing
conversations,
emotional intimacy. There we go. You're developing emotional intimacy, because look, if your relationship is going to last, one of the pillars, one of the foundation, one of your bricks that make up your foundation has to be emotional intimacy. Yeah. Because just because you're with a person doesn't mean you're with a person, if you know what I mean. So, and you want a person that's willing to open up to you, that you can share everything with. You have to have that place in life where you can come to and just let it all out. Yeah. And for me, that's my wife. And if that's not your spouse, that too can be another issue. That could be a problem.
Absolutely.
So, got anything else to add on that?
No, I think that's great. Definitely encourage you guys to check out the app and practice using some of those conversation starters. The app is great. There are also other tools. There are also some conversation starter cards that you can search for and look for on Amazon. And they have them for couples, for families. We have some for our family that we use sometimes over dinner. Just great tools to use to create and grow in your level of emotional intimacy. So.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all we got for you today. Hopefully you get something out of that. But this is Glenn and Tanya Coleman reminding you that
your marriage matters.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes, happy Father's Day.